Welcome back to Power Breakfast, our morning interview. Opinion is divided in this country on whether the opposition has failed or the opposition is well and healthy. Over the past couple of weeks, we've had conversations around this subject with claims that allegations that the opposition has failed is Jubilee propaganda to hide its failure. On the other hand, the opposition has stuck its neck out and said, look, we are healthy and going on well in our role. So has the opposition in this country failed, and what is its position? How is it carrying out its work? There are a lot of claims flying around, and today in the studio we're privileged to have the person really at the center of this in the National Assembly and the performance of the opposition in the National Assembly, the Honorable Francis Nyenze, the leader of the minority in the National Assembly. Welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, I'm joined by Mwakazi today, sitting in for Muteginja, who couldn't make it. Let's start with your own assessment, your own fair assessment of how the opposition is performing or has performed the past 1 year amidst all these allegations, so that you're not sure.
Thank you, Makali. The opposition has performed well in the National Assembly, in that we've made more petitions, presented more petitions on the floor of the House. We've also had 11 private members' bills, more than Jubilee. Jubilee has had only 4. The others are government bills, but CORD has the 11 private members' bills. It had very many petitions, more than CORD, but more than Jubilee. I've also led the members well, giving them, chance to, execute their duties. I've worked very well with my deputy and the whip, Mungaro. And because of leadership styles, different leadership styles, some people have seen that as a weakness. But the end game is, at the end of the year, how people perceive you, whether you have performed well or you have not performed. Otherwise, we have done well in that I've also mobilized MPs just last week to stop Jubilee government from paying 1.4 billion agro-leasing contracts. I've also led CORD members in highlighting corruption and misgovernance in Jubilee government. We mobilized our members and defeated the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill number 1 of 2013, whereby the Jubilee government wanted to kill or muzzle the civil society and NGOs by denying them and cutting the funding so that they don't question the government. And we defeated that motion. We also mobilized and we threatened that if Jubilee government does not allocate more funds to the counties, we'll call for a referendum. And we pushed the Jubilee from giving the 190 billion that they gave. Now they have given 226 billion, and it's just because of CORD. So I would say, besides that, we have done very many things. Our role is first representation, we represent people. The other one is the legislation, we make laws, and you have seen how active our members are. And the third one is citing the government, so that we check it. And
that's where the biggest problem comes, and recent protestations are about your inability to provide alternatives to government policy or government initiatives. They say that you're good at criticizing, but not providing alternatives. Are those two distinct?
If you followed our debates on the floor, we do not have another forum apart from in the assembly and also the public, gatherings, but we've articulated our points, and we've provided alternative, views on how things should be done, and especially on corruption, on insecurity and tribalism, which are tearing this country apart.
Right. Honorable Nyenze, I mean, listening to you from a general perspective, you get the perception that there's a lot that is happening. But if you sit down and listen to Suna East Member of Parliament, Honorable Junet Mohammed, even pushing for you to be replaced, you get a totally different perspective of what you have just said. What is happening?
I've performed quite well, and you know, we have allowed in Dano democracy, so it's criticism is healthy. It makes you learn where some members feel you are not doing well, but generally members of CORD are happy with my leadership. I'm in constant touch with the coalition leader, Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Moses Wetangula, who are our principals. And they are very happy with my leadership and the general membership.
So what do you think is the genesis of the calls to replace the leadership of the opposition in both houses with the ODM, of course?
Okay, yeah, you know, ODM has 96 members of parliament, and the Wiper has 25 members. Ford Kenya has 15 members, and then we have other 5 members from other smaller parties. Now I talked to Jeanette, and I asked him what was wrong with him, and he told me, Nyenze, I have no problem with you, but I'm protesting the Ford Kenya leaders bringing a candidate to my county. So I told him that is not the best way to do it, and you should not drag my name into it. But if I've done wrong, I've not offered leadership, tell me and I will improve. And I've encouraged my members to give a critic on my leadership. I'm not very loud now because I've given my deputies chance to be known and to exercise their rights. That's why sometimes you find like I'm eclipsed by...
So just a clarification. You're saying Honorable Junet Mohammed you spoke.
Yeah, we spoke.
He said that the reason why he was talking about your replacement is because of this other issue, and not necessarily your performance.
Not necessarily. He said my performance was good, but now he didn't want to look
but there are those who have said that the leadership needs to be renegotiated in view of the fact that the pre-election agreement cannot continue in view of the realities of the numbers that ODM has the majorities in the coalition, yet it does not hold any leadership. It's only deputy positions they have, except the chief whip.
Actually, that has been the point that some members, a few members have been driving, that ODM has more members than Jubilee, than Wiper and than Ford Kenya, which is a fact. But these are negotiated positions, and it is only Wiper members who can replace me, but not ODM or Ford Kenya, because these are negotiated positions.
What was the agreement?
The agreement was Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga becomes the overall CORD leader, and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka becomes the minority leader in the National Assembly. Honorable Moses Wetangula becomes the minority leader in the Senate. But now, because Kalonzo never made it to Parliament, there was to be someone, Wiper had to elect someone to hold the brief for Kalonzo. So when I got in, I was just to hold the brief for Kalonzo before they get someone to step down for him. When that never materialized, the CORD leadership called me and told me, we confirm you as the de facto leader of the opposition in the National Assembly. And I've held that seat well, but steady.
That was post-election. But pre-election, why was that seat to be given to Wiper? I mean, the pre-election agreement,
these agreements were post-election when we went to Naivasha. After we failed to go to State House. We had to negotiate those ones. Pre-elections, we had agreed on that, and the post-election now, after that Naivasha.
So it was an agreement that ODM can cede leadership in any of the two houses to the two parties.
Definitely,
and they retain the leadership of the opposition
overall.
Yes.
And that is very clear.
Yes.
But now in a party that has 140 members, because CORD members are 140, you cannot fail to have one or two people criticizing the leadership, and they say, oh, it's good, I encourage it. And that's why I give my deputies chance to exercise their right to be known, to practice leadership, because I've been there for a long time.
But it shows leadership, I mean, cracks within the army. Haven't you thought it necessary to call a parliamentary group meeting to say, look, these things are being said, what is the general membership, so that they can actually discuss a matter of your leadership and these contests that they need to replace you?
We've had several PGs, and I always call them, and I give people a chance, and I ask them, what's wrong with me? Tell me what is wrong. And they tell me, and I take them and I accept where I'm wrong.
Yes.
I tell them I'm wrong here, and I accept to change. And we've been like that.
Yes.
But now, if you look at Jubilee, you only hear of one person, the majority leader.
Yes.
You don't know who the deputy is, but there is a deputy.
Yes.
You don't know the other chief whip and so forth. But in CORD, you know Jakoyo, you know Dr. Amalwa, you know Mungaru, and you know Nyenze, because I don't want to dominate. I want it to be participatory and for everybody to exercise their leadership skills.
Some of the concerns that have been raised, Honorable Nyenze, include the fact that some members go into the House, especially when there's a critical issue to be debated, and they have no clear understanding of the coalition's perspective. So they're literally getting in, they have not perhaps been well informed. That's concern number one. The other thing is that there are certain sessions that you have been absent, leading them to be in a situation where they're leaderless. And anytime you stand, you don't necessarily give that sense of inspiration. In fact, they've called your leadership as being flat and uninspired.
That is one member, and it is the same member who has been criticizing me. But I want to say this. In CORD, we've said, unless it's a party motion or something that we have a common ground, we give our members freedom to exercise their democratic right and to hold their positions. And you can see even on the floor of the House, members voting different because we practice democracy, and unless it's a very fundamental party issue, we don't want to interfere and call people to force them to vote in a certain way. We give people their own right to vote with their conscience, which has worked very well. But on critical issues, that's when we call a PG, we tell them this is the party position, and we move together that way. Those who have said my leadership has been colorless, has been that, ask yourself, this is Nyenze. Nyenze has been a cabinet minister. The only thing I've never been is the president. Now, today I'm the minority leader.
Yes.
Why? How can I be so lucky to be getting these positions if it is not through God's grace and that people have seen leadership in me? So that action of letting people criticize me and accommodating everybody and not domineering has led people to hold me in high esteem and see me as a good leader who is not so loud to be seen alone, but who brings in other people also to participate and not steal the glory from them.
That is one way of looking at it.
Yeah.
The flip side of looking at it is that this man is so colorless. He is not vocal. He's not articulate enough that his space is being taken by his deputies. Because if you are vocal and holding all the space, then you would be representing the opposition without, as you are saying, your explanation that you give your deputies and the other leaders a chance. But the flip side of it will be that this man can't take territory, so the deputies are overshadowing him, are outdoing him.
That's why I've said is the leadership style.
Yes.
But ask yourself, the end result is the one that matters most.
Yes.
Are we winning or are we losing? Like you have seen the last bit of Aglo-leasing debate in Parliament and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Jubilee only withdrew because the motion, because they sensed defeat, because we lobbied, even the Jubilee members and our code. And when they saw if we brought this motion, we will lose, that's when they withdrew. Now my question is, my style is, I don't want to get the credit. I don't want to get all the glory and honor. I just want it to be a unified thing.
Work to be done.
Work to be done.
Okay.
Let's get the results, but let not Nyenze be.
But that's a very rare politician. Are you ambitious? What do you want? What next for Nyenze? Now you have been cabinet minister. Now you are
God knows,
minority leader.
Yeah, God knows. But
what is your target?
Not that I'm not ambitious. You know, all men are ambitious. But I always first ask God and ask my people. And I also do a kind of SWOT analysis on myself to know my strengths, my weaknesses, and what opportunities lie ahead of me.
Yes.
But I'm a very calculative politician.
Yeah.
And my leadership style, because we always achieve.
Yeah. But why I'm asking that question is, perhaps they continue to retain you there because they think you are no threat to anybody, you're not ambitious. So Nyenze will just warm that seat for somebody else to come. He will not use it to propel himself anywhere, any higher.
Let me tell you, when Moi became the president of Kenya, people called him a passing cloud.
Yes.
But he reigned on people for 24 years. You see, in leadership, you have to balance very many things. And for you to survive in such a seat that I have, there is the principles, who you cannot compete for power with. There is the electorate, there are the members you represent, and now you balance all those things. What will determine whether you are a better leader than most of the other people is, does the coalition achieve its objectives? And can you retain that seat for as long as possible? People will criticize you. And anybody who doesn't welcome criticism is not a good leader. In fact, when Jonette and Engineer Gubo criticized me, I said it's good, and I came, we edited together, and I asked them, you guys, you have said this and this. Tell me, is it right? Because I want you to learn so that I can improve.
Yes.
And we had a very open discussion. I don't have those hard feelings.
Okay.
No.
But I give my people a chance to be heard, so that I don't get the publicity.
In your role to provide alternative leadership and, of course, to keep the government in check, would you say the absence of CORD leaders Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka in Parliament has literally robbed the opposition of its vibrancy?
Not really, because they have Honorable Raila Odinga, Honorable Kalonzo. Being out there, they've more time to interact with the public and to prepare for 2017. They have offered leadership, and we consult them on every move. We are not disadvantaged because they are not in Parliament, but we've done very well. And if you look at the last 4 or 5 months, CORD, though outnumbered in the National Assembly, has always carried the day. The reason is, Jubilee has 216 members. That is URP and TNA and the other smaller parties combined. There are only 16 MPs shy of the 2/3 majority. Now we are only 140, which is a small minority compared to those numbers. So in the Parliament, there is what we call tyranny of numbers. And I did say in this show, the Cheche, sometime, that give these members 1 year. There will be no party affiliation. Mostly they will vote with their conscience. But at the moment, because we are coming from the elections, they have those loyalties to their parties, and they have the election mood still in them. Today, when you see Jubilee members walk out of Cabinet Secretary Rotich, and you see them joining their colleagues in CORD to reject the payments of agro leasing, know that they have matured and they are moving towards that. It will not be business as before. And that's why I'm saying, in a leadership, you have to calculate, you have to negotiate, and you have to, inform as many members as possible so that you win. And CORD has been performing very well because of that consultative leadership.
Just taking you back to what has been happening, we've seen the opposition walk out, especially in regards to the overwhelming numbers, which you're calling tyranny of numbers. any other strategy that is being used, apart from just walking out when you realize you don't have the numbers?
You know, on matters, on those motions that we did not agree the Jubilee side, and we knew we were greatly outnumbered, we used to walk out, but we discovered we can fight inside the house, and even if we don't win, our voice will be heard, and we will side with the Kenyans, and we only articulate issues that affect the Kenyans. And we have not walked out for a long time now. We've never had a walkout. A walkout is to tell Kenyans, we don't agree with what Jubilee is doing, take note, we are against this, and we walk out. But we rarely do it, we fight it in the house.
There's the argument that the CORD leader, Raila Odinga's absence in the country for the last 1.5 months, now going to 2 months, has affected the vibrancy of the opposition. How much do you miss him?
We miss him, but we are in constant talk, and soon he's coming. But that does not create any vacuum, because the other two leaders have been going round and performing the same duty. So any of the three, whoever is absent, the other two carries the baton, and there is no vacuum. This weekend we will be in Nyenze with the Vice President and the Minority Leader in the Senate. And you go to many places of Nyenze.
Right.
So there is no vacuum, and we are in constant touch with our leader.
Yeah. Related to the effectiveness of the opposition, and which people have been raising all the time, lack of alternatives, presenting alternatives to government policy or programs, that is still a big issue, and comes down to the organization and structure of your own opposition and how you respond to government. Seems to me disorganized. Even on the floor of the House, it's individuals who shoot and take positions, sometimes of course the party. But in terms of organizing the opposition into the shadow spokespersons or departments reflecting those in government, say ministry, along ministry lines, so that you have a spokesman for energy, spokesman for treasury, spokesman for sports and things like that. How come your opposition has not been able to get that organized so that you can deal with the government on one-on-one?
We've organized that, and we've identified people who have key competencies in some areas. And whenever a debate comes to Parliament, those are the members that we call to press their button, and others give those ones room. They don't press to give those ones room, so that our debate is convincing.
That is subtle. People would like to know, for example, us in the press would like to know that if it's on a matter of energy or the matter of environment, for example,
we can provide
we know that this is the spokesman or the spokesperson in the opposition, the shadow secretary, so to speak. That is not existing. This is the remote control behind the, okay, don't press that button. Let Buddy speak. Okay, you, Junet, don't speak.
Okay. We can provide that, but we sometimes we keep changing so that we have a wider participation from our members. But we can provide that. Those key people who are experts in certain areas, and they are the ones who speak on. But the Bible says, to those whose much is given, more is required from them. Jubilee got the government, though we contested. The requirement on what they should do, what they promised to Kenyans. Kenyans are expecting what they were promised. Ours is to remind them, you promised this, you have not delivered. Can you deliver? And apart from keeping the government in check, we have been very active in the National Assembly, and we've done a good job. And if you follow the proceedings of the Parliament business, you find that most of the most active members are from CORD, and we have done very well. We will keep on doing very well, but we are open to criticism so that.
But is that something you're planning about? The structured opposition that people are talking about? Not just on the floor of the House. There are issues which may need to be addressed outside the Parliament, whether there are security issues, and the public is waiting. They don't want to hear you at political rallies. They want to hear a policy statement or a position taken by the party or the coalition. That is missing in the public arena. That's where the problem is about your performance.
In fact, we've commissioned the former PS for Health, Dr. Nyikal, Honorable Nyikal, to come up with a committee that will set up those key structures so that if you want to get information from this, you go to this. This is the Shadow Minister for Energy, Shadow Minister for Health. Something is being done on that so that we are structured and everybody can get information.
Honourable Nyenze, some comments here from our viewers. We have Dennis Oluoch, who is not necessarily happy about your performance. In fact, he says, the fact is that CORD was not ready to be the opposition, and that is why they're not performing. And then another gentleman says here, tell Kenyans the true role of the opposition in Kenya. Is it opposing everything to remain relevant? Kindly tell us alternative approaches to some of the policies you oppose.
First, that one of Dennis Oluoch. We were prepared to go to State House. And our numbers are still contestable, but we don't want to live in the past. We've accepted, though there were some questions. We still believe we won, but because we don't want to live in the past, we have moved on and said we'll work with the government and we will remain in the opposition to prepare for a fight next time. On the second question, the role of the opposition has been carried out very effectively, and we've, considering that we are very much outnumbered, we've done well according to my assessment. And anybody doubting that they should go through the proceedings, you know, we don't have the government, we don't have the power that goes with the government. We can only challenge and point out the people with the
But you can bring ideas.
Yeah, we have brought ideas.
Yeah. In any case,
and we don't oppose
a
everything.
manifesto or a clear plan or promises or plan of government.
Correct.
Those ideas are not coming through. That is the whole point. That it's not just about being in government. It is about the ideas that you bring to light, and even in the house that you push to see this country take on. Even though you didn't take power, you would still like to see those ideas implemented.
Definitely.
Now, those ideas are missing.
Let's say, you know, the Jubilee government is impervious to our ideas. We try to suggest the best way to move forward, but they won't listen. And the main role of the National Assembly is to check the executive. But there before, apart from now, this issue of agro-leasing, there was no difference between some members of the National Assembly and the executive. But now I'm happy that Jubilee members are seeing light and they are joining us. So I think we'll keep this government in check. And the other question you said, do we just oppose everything the government does? We don't. I'm on record of having said I support the government operation to fight terrorism and to flush out those illegal aliens in Isili and everywhere else. When government does well, we give them a part. We support them. But most of the time, they are misfiring.
On the issue of the IEBC, that's really hot now. You are saying you want to dissolve IEBC. Some say it's a hopeless motion because, or petition, because it will not succeed given the numbers. What are you doing to ensure that that objective is met? And is it legitimate to try and remove the IEBC in the first place?
What happened is that some members felt, and it was not consultative, a section of members, because we have given our members freedom to work, but we coalesce at a common goal, felt that it was good to remove IEBC because of lack of performance and so many things, but it was not a uniform, approach
Consensus
to that issue, so, and there was not enough consultation. So when we found, I found out some members were opposed to that, We talked it in our PG, and we said we will get a common position so that we also listen to those members who want it removed, and then we see whether we can come to a consensus and the approach to it. We may have to reform it instead of removing it. We may have to, but something is wrong with the IBC. The way it is, we cannot go to the next polls of 2017 with the current IBC the way it's constituted, because there will be a lot of, bad things.
All right. Just generally looking at party politics and in regards to the Wiper Democratic Party, there has been talk that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka would be going it alone come 2017. Do you support that?
No, I don't support that, and it's a lie. It's just members who are saying that. The coalition will stick together with the Raila, Kalonzo, and Moses Wetangula. And I did say in Kisumu, in a rally in Kisumu, that you don't change a football team that has been scoring. You take that outfit and you try again. Now that the last two elections have been too close to call, and the Jubilee team is making mistakes here and there, I'm not sure that this team will be changed. But our members, as I said earlier, are free to make their own.
The team that misfired, that missed the penalty, will still be filled.
The team, Honorable Makali, the team never misfired and it never missed the penalty. We still believe we won the election and the victory was stolen from us. Okay. But because as I've said, life has to go on. Yes. We move forward. We see how best we can critique the Jubilee and then move forward.
Yeah. Let me ask, before you can't leave, we're about to finish this, but you can't leave because there are people who are querying in your previous roles. What happened to the pyramids scheme that you led? And people, when they see you, they remember you for the pyramid schemes and say, our money.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you address that.
Thank you, Makali, for that. I was the chairman of an investigative team that investigated the scam of the pyramid schemes. A lot of Kenyans lost their money through the pyramid schemes. And this was before the elections. And if you see, in every election, there is a kind of golden bag or Anglo-leasing to finance the election. So this time, because I think the international community had their eyes stuck on Kenya before the election, a way was devised with the people in the government to raise money for campaigns. And these schemes were registered by the government to get money from members. And they promised that they would double this money, triple it, quadruple. So members fell into the trap. They put their money. And I can tell you, those we interviewed, one poor lady sold her house in Lavington, 24 million, and she put the money there. And then the offices were closed, she could not get. Now she's sick. Others have lost their loved ones because of that loss. We investigated and we said, so and so, store this, put this money in this account. Yes. This is the bank. The money trail, we follow it even to offshore. These are houses that were built by these people who got. And there were big pyramid schemes. Sassanet, there were all sorts of schemes, over 100. And with authorization from government. Yes. And when people complained, when the red flag was raised, now they were turned into cooperative unions, and people kept on losing money. Right. In total, we discovered 40 billion was lost through pyramid scheme without a very short period of time. And the trick was, Makali brings money, he is given 4 times within 1 month. He calls his brothers,
Yeah.
let's put money here.
Okay.
They are given
so
again.
the report was done. The findings were there. You found people were culpable.
Yes.
What has happened to those people, and why isn't the government able to repay these people?
Now we say this.
Including putting the money in
Correct.
the budget so that it can go.
Correct. We said.
No one is dealing with that.
Thank you. That is a very good question. That money, we said some money, you know, when the pyramid schemes stopped operations, there was the money in central bank, which was frozen. And we tried to get that information from central bank, which was not forthcoming. We said we have information that there are 5 billion. The central bank said no, there is no money. We said, okay, these banks received this money. Can it be paid back to the members on a pro rata basis so that those who paid, even if I paid 10 million, can I get even 2 million? Because some of these members are really suffering.
Okay.
The government has kept mum.
Yes.
Each successive government, if it doesn't, because it touches on who is who, these big people. This cannot be perpetrated by poor.
Some even
small
got
people.
elected to parliament.
Yeah,
right?
many got elected. You know, when you have money, you
Okay.
can buy power.
We learned that, but is there any hope for those people? Is the court going to take it up and bring it back to parliament and pass some, perhaps a motion?
I'll personally take it up in the parliament. We were waiting for something to be done because many people have faced divorce, others mental illnesses, and the families are broken up. People have gone crazy because they have lost all their savings. So what we are doing is we will bring it up and the people have to be paid back and let the budget, let the government budget some money, at least to pay these people, Bwana Makali, as you suggest. Let the government put some money in the budget because they are also culpable. They are the ones who allowed these transactions to go on.
And the registration of illegal entities.
Yes.
All right, we'll end there. Thank you very much, Honorable Nyenze, for coming. Nyenze, the minority leader in the opposition and MP for Kitui West, a leader of minority in the National Assembly, for shedding light on the performance of the opposition. And he says, blame it on his style. It's not ineffective, it is his style, but he's delivering results. Thank you very much for watching, and keep watching Power Breakfast.